Have you ever worked so hard on a project where you've chopped up the footage perfectly, paced the video super smoothly, hooked the viewer with crazy animations in the intro, and demolished the viewer's engagement with crazy animations in the body just to rewatch what you've created and feel like there's something missing? I have reviewed hundreds of video editors' videos, and the reason you don't find your videos engaging is not because of the animations. It's actually because of the sound design. You're so focused on bringing the content creator's words to life using animations, but you're not bringing your animations to life using sound design, which is exactly why you feel like your video is missing something. That's why in today's video we're going to be talking about how you can sound design short form content. To do that, we'll first explore what sound design is, then we'll go over the 3 stages of sound design, then I'll be telling you where you can find the best high quality sound effects for free, and lastly we're going to apply everything that we learned and sound design this short which we edited a few videos ago. So if you're ready to take your sound design game to the next level, let's dive straight in. To better understand sound design, we're going to need to take a look at the bigger picture for just a second. The entire reason video editing exists is because content creators want to share valuable information. The most basic form of sharing this information is by simply speaking the information directly to the viewer. The problem with this is that it becomes difficult to retain the information that is being said, which is exactly where editing comes in. You see, editing enhances this experience by having examples, numbers, and other things show up on the screen to better help you understand this information. This concept helps us realize that all that we're doing is taking words, which are information, and converting it into visuals, which are easier to understand. And we call that process editing. But there's a whole side of this equation that is being neglected. Because if we decide to use animations to show the information that we're talking about, then we also have to bring those animations to life using sound design. And neglecting sound design is just like neglecting animations. You see, if you did not use animations to show your visuals, then it's just another boring video. So your job as an editor is to simply take what is happening on the screen and then find a sound effect that complements it and assign that sound effect to the action that's happening on the screen. Meaning if you had a car passing by on the screen, you would find the sound effect of the car passing by and align that sound effect to the car passing by. But this is where we face 2 major problems. Number 1, how do you find the correct sound effect based on the corresponding action that's happening on the screen? And number 2, how do you integrate this into your video? That's where I'm going to need to introduce you to the 3 stages of sound design. To ensure that you find the correct sound effect for whatever is happening on the screen, we're going to need to take our video through the 3 stages of sound design. And to better understand these 3 stages, we're going to be taking our short form video through each stage and breaking down everything until we end up with this masterpiece. So let's get started on stage 1, which is sound designing motion and movement. Now wait a second. You've clicked on this video because you want to master sound design. So that's why I'm also giving you a free guide on how I collect high quality sound effects for my videos. It's going to be down in the link below. But if you're an editor watching this and you admire this editing style and the complex animations, then I've got something for you. I've created a school community called Ultimate Editors. In this community, I've put together a plan that allows you to master video editing and also make your first $1,000 online in the first 2 months. To do this, I've brought you guys the complete Premiere Pro course pack, the complete After Effects course pack, as well as 3 different short form editing style masterclasses covering styles like Devin Jatho, Houston Cold, and by Maximize. And on top of that, we even include 3 long form editing style masterclasses covering editing styles like Isaac, Iman Gaji, and my own editing style. This is over 200 plus courses of 2024 editing knowledge. And whether you're a beginner or a professional, this is going to take your editing to the next level. Just check out all of these different people who have used this same plan to master video editing in just 30 days. So in the next 30 days, if you want to become an expert in Premiere Pro, After Effects, and all these different editing styles, all you gotta do is join Ultimate Editors. So if you'd like to learn more about this new opportunity for video editors, just click the link down below. I've put together a full video telling you everything about it. What we'll be doing here is watching through the whole video and specifically looking for any movements or motions that are happening on the screen. A few examples of movement are things like pop-ups, slide-ins, or objects that are moving on the screen. We're basically looking out for anything that is moving. And the correct sound effect to apply to these movements are whooshes and swooshes. And you might be wondering, well, how do I find whooshes and swooshes that are high quality and for free? I'll leave a link down in the description below where you can basically get all the sound effects that I use completely for free and a guide on how to use them and download them. But let's go ahead and start by applying stage 1 to our video. I'll get started by sound designing this intro over here. Here are 5 sound effects that you should be using to go viral. Now keep in mind, we want to watch this and study only the movement and motion. The first thing I notice is that the text slides out of the screen over here, and this is a movement. So I'll head over to my whooshes and pick out a whoosh that fits this movement. And as you can see, this small one right here is perfect. Now the trick you'll need to learn for whooshes is to always align the peak of the whoosh sound effect to the peak of the animation. Now I've already placed my playhead at at the point with the most motion blur, which means I'll just align the peak of the sound effect to the actual playhead. There are 5 sound. So now that you understand this concept a bit better, let's go a bit faster. I play this video and notice this zoom in right here. So I drag in a longer whoosh sound effect and once again align the peak of it to the peak of the zoom in animation. And after that, I've got this clip sliding into the screen. So I'll also add a whoosh sound effect for that as well and align the peak of it to the point with the most motion blur. Now this same clip also slides out to the top. So I'll add a whoosh for that as well. And that's it for the intro. You'll want to stick around till the end of the video to see how this whole thing turned out. Now let's quickly go through the rest of this video and finish applying stage 1. Over here, I've got the number 1 popping into screen with a few other pop-ups. And then at the end, they all slide down. So I'll add a whoosh for it coming in and a whoosh for it sliding down. Then I've got this slide movement over here. So I'll find the peak of the animation right here and add a whoosh sound effect for that as well. Then we have a zoom in over here. So we'll align the peak of the zoom in with this whoosh here. And now this segment here is the same as the one we did before. So once again, a whoosh for the in and a whoosh for the out. But this is where things get a little bit more interesting. We have a text popping up over here and a zoom in, which makes for 2 movements. So for the pop-up, I'll add a whoosh and a bigger whoosh for the zoom in under it. I tend to use smaller whooshes first, then overlay them with bigger whooshes in this case. And we're basically gonna do the same thing for the rest of the video, going through the whole thing and adding all kinds of whoosh sound effects until we end up with this. And this is what stage 1 of sound design looks like. But now, onto stage 2. This is about to be the most time-consuming stage of all of them. But as usual, let's go through the concept and then apply it to the video. Stage 2 is textured sound effects. First of all, what even are textured sound effects? These are sound effects like digital clicks, keyboards, mouse clicks, paper tears, and much more. And just like we've used whooshes for movement animations, we'll be using these on pop-ups, graphic animations, write-outs, and all kinds of stuff. And there are 2 main reasons you'll want to use textured sound effects in your videos. First, they help direct the attention of the viewer to a certain thing that's happening on screen. And second, they bring dead animations like these to life and give so much more depth to simple animations. And where do you find these kinds of sound effects? Don't worry, I'm going to be sharing all the secrets for free down in the link below. But let's get started on the textured sound effects for this video. The first thing we see is these 2 text pop-ups. From my experience, a nice sound effect for pop-ups is these click sound effects. So let's add a double click sound effect for both of these texts. Next up, this red glowing 5 comes up. Now what I've discovered is digital clicks and bell sound effects work amazing with glows. So for this one, I'll add a digital click. Then we've got this rectangle drawing out, so I'll add a highlighter sound effect to make it seem as if it's being drawn out. We also have this sequence of text coming up and sliding through, so when it pops up, I'll add a digital click. This is so that it seems like someone clicked on a UI button to make it pop up. And as it pops down, I'll reuse that same digital click. And to show the text flicking through, I'll be using data sound effects like this one. And check this out. This last clip has a green background of an arrow rising, so what better sound effect to use than a data sound effect right here. And I kid you not, this stage makes the biggest difference in editing. Just wait till the end so that you can watch the full result and see for yourself. But now that you understand how this is done, let's go through this process a bit faster. Check out this section here. Another highlighter sound effect for the rectangle being drawn, data sound effect for the animation, then 2 clicks for the 2 texts popping up. As for this section, we switch through 3 different shots. Our first shot is a mouse click, so I add a mouse click sound effect. Our second shot is a keyboard typing, so I added a keyboard typing sound effect. And the last shot was a pencil writing out, so I added a pencil writing sound effect. And since I wanted to use this sequence to build up, I layered these sound effects and had them stack up in intensity. As for the rest of the video, keep using digital clicks for any pop-up or minimal animations, keep using bell and button sound effects for any glows, and clicks to transition any rough cuts. And this is what you'll end up with at the end. And I know you're just as excited as I am to find out what this sounds like, but I promise you, just one last stage. Here is our final stage in sound design. Stage 3 in sound design is a simple stage. This is risers and hits. And what are risers and hits, you might ask? Well, it's best if I just show you. Risers are used to build up anticipation, and we'll be strategically placing these in places that need to build up our viewers' anticipation. And hits are used to release anticipation or as an emotional draw. Now, how exactly can you use these? Well, this one's a bit different. See, for risers and hits, you'll first need to determine exactly where the viewer's anticipation needs to be built up and where he needs to feel like there's a release of emotion. So let's take a look at how we would do this to our video. So do you remember that section where we built up anticipation using our textured sound effects of the keyboard, mouse, and and pencil, yeah, that's supposed to be a build-up, which is why it's the perfect place to use a riser to top it all off. So I added a riser and made the peak of it at the end of the sequence. Notice how I blend in the rough peak at the end using a click sound effect on top. Next, I had this big explosion over here, and this is where comedic timing plays a big role. I made sure that the viewer builds up to this point here where the anticipation is broken with a big explosion. Then in this section, I am teasing the viewer into the next section of the video. So to better build up this section, I'll add a riser right here. And with all this done, this is what your timeline should look like. Yeah, I get it. You've been waiting for so long to see what the final result is like. Don't worry, I'm just about to show you, but don't forget to check out the first link in the description if you want all these sound effects for free. And this is what the video finally ended up with. Here are 5 sound effects that you should be using to go viral. And the 5th effect is one that I use a lot. The first sound effect is textured sound effects. Clicks, keyboards, highlighters can all be used to add life to any clip that they are added to. It's kind of like color grading, but for audio. The second sound effect is whoosh sound effects. And these sound effects basically make your animation pop. Just make sure to add them to the point with the most blur and you're good to go. The third sound effect are risers and hits. And if you ever wanted to build up emotion or have a suspenseful moment, this is what you're gonna need. Fourth are meme sound effects. I mean, you gotta keep your video entertaining, so don't forget to add in your humorous twist. And lastly, the 5th sound effect is digital sound effects. These just work so seamlessly with animations and they bring these kinds of animations to life. If you made it this far, go ahead and comment down below. I mean, only like 10% of you make it this far, so it's very special. And thank you so much for watching. You guys have an amazing day. God bless all of you, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Goodbye.